Hi everyone, my name is Alexandra Matheson, and today we're going to be talking about Russell and the Whale, my very first book. Okay, so I wrote this book around August 2020, and it was after having met Russell Berg. So Russell volunteered with Sea Shepherd for a while. I think he did like three trips with them, and he told me stories of his time in Antarctica and as a volunteer, and the work that they did fighting against the whaling ships in Antarctica. He also told me a lot of other stories about his work as a cameraman, working on anti-poaching documentaries and all those sorts of things. So I found him to be very inspiring, as well as very passionate about wildlife. So yeah, he definitely, as soon as I started writing, it just, yeah, it had to be about the whales. And he basically was the beginning of this whole project, like meeting him, and then the stories just kind of flowed. And yeah, so this is definitely a very special book for me. And yeah, what can I say? However, funny enough, even though this was the first book that I wrote, it was the last book that I illustrated. And it just took me a while to be able to sit with this book after having written it. And but once I got into the illustrations, it also just flowed, much like the writing. But I was very apprehensive. But there's a whole other story behind that. And I thought today I would share some, if I could say, behind the scenes, to the actual how I came up with these illustrations. And it was quite a process for me, and it took me a while to figure out how to go about these drawings. Like in my other video where I talked about the reasons behind all of these sorts of things, and the first person point of view, it came with its own challenges effectively. So this, yeah, so you will see I've dated my images. So you'll see this first drawing I only drew on the 15th of March of this year. So definitely I did get around to it last. And then after having illustrated this, then I wrote and illustrated Glenn and the Elephant. So even though it was last of my first 5 books. Okay, so you'll see I battled to draw this boat. I gotta say, I know I'm not the best artist, but I really did my best. This was such a journey for me because I initially wanted to find someone to do the illustrations for me, and I couldn't find anyone. I really did battle, and then I realized maybe the reason why I couldn't find someone was because I myself had to do it. So as you can see, this is my first attempt at a boat. And then after a while of thinking about it and really looking at pictures of what a boat actually looks like, I managed to come up with that design. But yeah, I wanted to keep things simple, but at the same time also wanted you to see what I was actually drawing. And this was my first attempt at a whale. So this was my first sketch, and you can see, like, I thought I was going to have a hand on the side of the boat, I didn't know where I wanted the tail. I've got comments here of like where I wanted things to go. A lot of erasing, so you can see all the rub marks. But I mean, these are the beginnings of the characters. So I thought that I'd share this with you. This is quite special. And then I gotta say, okay guys, with the maps, so like when I drew Antarctica, I literally just looked at a map on my phone and then I hand drew it. So it's not perfect, but I like that. Like that was what I enjoyed about it. They're not perfect. They each have a bit of character within themselves. So lots of comments of where I wanted things. And that is an octopus. if you didn't already figure out what that was. I love them. I love all the little characters. And yeah, I think this is one of my favorites. Just the mom and the baby together. I think that's so cute. And also, when they're going on their little journey, when they're off to go to Antarctica, and you can see I didn't leave enough space, so I drew the bird down here to then put up there. And then just like Antarctica, so unfortunately, when needing to do these drawings, sometimes I have to Google things that I don't particularly want to see. And one of the things was having to Google what a whaling ship looks like. I know that there's so much more finer detail to what these ships actually look like, but I went into as much detail as I possibly could with my drawing skills effectively. And it's very sad. But luckily in the book they scare them off, so some amazing things there. And basically very heartbreaking, but they basically bring the whales up through that chute at the back of the ship. Let's see if there's any other drawings I can show you. Oh, wow. And I like this at the very end when they're saying goodbye to each other, hopefully to have another adventure. Yeah, and then from that, I then have my final drawings. Now, you may see a bit of smudges, but this happened from when I scanned the photos, the illustrations in. So these are like the finalized versions that were then scanned. And then I would do further editing on the digital image. For example, if I didn't like one of the eyes, I would then copy them. Because drawings, it's hard, guys. But yeah, so beautiful. These images, really, I love these illustrations. And then you can see, like, I had the bird sitting on the side randomly, and now I've got the bird actually on the boat. So it all comes together in the end. Let's see. This one. Yeah. And I think that's also why this works out so well, having drawn the images on A3 and then having the books in PDF. It just means then that when reading it on an iPad or phone, you can actually zoom in to the images, and the images are so beautiful and clear, just because of how I've done this basically. And like you saw in that other one, my Antarctica looked a bit weird, and then you see here it's all very defined now. Yeah, it's been an amazing process, an amazing journey. And I gotta say that drawing and actually making these books really assisted me with anxiety. So if you need an outlet, drawing and everything is very healing and therapeutic as well. So thank you for letting me share my book with you. I don't know if maybe I should read my dedication as just like an ending. So I dedicated each of my books to the person on which I based the character off of. And like I said in the beginning, I based this character also off of Russell Berg. And I wrote here, I dedicate this book to a truly inspiring, kind, and courageous person, Russell Berg. May you continue to fight for those who cannot speak for themselves and make the difference you wish to see in this world. So thank you. Thank you for listening to me and allowing me to share these books with you today. Yeah, thank you. Bye.